Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Ultra Maga Nation citizens,
It's like the worst back tattoo ever.
to the shittiest podcast on Rumble.
Shit is.
The shittiest. Well, once again, Donald Trump has proved he is arguably one of the greatest deal makers out there. Now, there's still time to go. Go lay the fuck down, Cooper. Don't mind me. Cooper's my child. I'm just kidding. It's my dog. There's still time for this to fall apart. Number one, first and foremost. Fuck you. But what it's looking like is every other deal Donald Trump has put together. You see him saying that they're going to get absolutely nothing. They're going to get nothing. They're not going to get money. They're not going to get this. They can't have that. They won't be allowed this. And in the end, there's some concession. There always is. It's more of a madman deal because he's threatening. Well, I guess in this case, he wasn't threatening. He was literally dropping bombs on their heads. But it was a great deal compared to some of the other deals. And once again, we'll see what the final deal reads, but we're going to bore the shit out of everybody right now. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of the 14 paragraphs of the Memorandum of Understanding. Okay?
The MOU.
The MOU. Verbatim. Actually, it's not going to be verbatim because I'm not going to read all of it. But the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. Now, Lebanon's brought up because of Israel, and we actually have a clip we're going to play here in just a minute, once this is read, where Trump's explaining why, he's not explaining why Lebanon's in the MOU, but it'll make sense in a minute. Basically, they're going to refrain from threat of use of force, ensure territory integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon, once again brought up. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon again. Just saying, it's kind of how much control Israel really has of America.
Mm-hmm.
And other provisions of this paragraph. Paragraph 2. There's a lot more than that, but that's the gist of it. I'm giving you the Reader's Digest. The United States and Iran undertake to respect each other's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and to refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. I don't really see Iran doing much interfering in America's internal affairs, but whatever. Paragraph 3. The United States and Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in a maximum of 60 days, extendable by mutual consent, which means both parties have to agree that they're going to extend it past 60 days. Which obviously, anytime there's a contractual agreement between two people, that's how that works. So Greg can't just go, we're extending it, Tom, and we'd be like, but I don't wanna. Immediately upon the signing, the United States will begin the removal of its naval blockade and any disturbances and impediments against Iran, and will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be proportionate to the numbers of pre-war traffic being restored by Iran. The United States further undertakes to remove its forces from the proximity of Iran within 30 days after the final deal. Now, what that means is all the buildup we have in the Gulf of Oman and in the Strait of Hormuz will leave after the 30 days after the final deal. So once the final deal's signed and everybody agrees, then there's 30 days of us just loitering to make sure that Iran actually keeps up its end of the deal. Because as we all know, Iran tends to say a lot of shit and then not do it. They tend to...
they'll do the opposite.
They tend to be like, oh yeah, we're not going to shoot missiles. We didn't shoot missiles. We shot drones. Paragraph 5. Upon signing of this, Iran will make arrangements in its best effort for safe passage of commercial vehicles. Now, what I'd like to point out is before this was even signed, the last 2 days, 2 nights, 2 days and 2 nights, vessels have been passing through the Strait of Hormuz with no fire, which is the first time in a while that that has happened. There will be no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. Now, this is a point of contention because the fact that it says for 60 days, all right, now there's another part that all these media outlets are out here going, oh my God, they only have to not charge tariffs and all that shit for 60 days. So, like, afterwards, Iran's already planning on
Yep.
charging people. Well, hold on. Wait a minute. So, there will be no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start. And considering the needs for removing the technical and military obstructions and demanding and demining by the Islamic Republic of Iran, that's another key point. Iran has to pull the mines up. We're not doing it. Will be instated within 30 days. The Iran will conduct dialogue with Oman to define the future administration and maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz in discussion with other Persian Gulf littoral states in line within applicable international law on the sovereign rights of the coast states of the Strait of Hormuz. It's illegal in international law to charge a toll to go through international water. It's illegal. So
because it's international, right?
it's international. That's exactly correct. So while it says they can't charge anything for 60 days, well, and here's some of the people that they would have to get to agree to allow them charge a toll. Oman, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Like, you think Saudi Arabia is going to pay to drive their oil through the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah.
They're not. They're not. Like, that was one of those small little, I'm going to give Iran a victory they can put up on their TVs in Iran to show how strong and powerful Iran is. And if you question that, remember back when, I think it was when we killed Soleimani, and then Iran called Trump and said, hey, we got to shoot some missiles at y'all, but we're not going to hit you. We're going to shoot them over you so that they blow up around the base so that we can project power on our own TVs. Like, this is us giving Iran permission to pretend to look strong in front of their people.
Right.
Okay, because at the end of the day, international law prevents tolls, and the other countries that they have to have dialogue and discussions with about whether they could charge tolls are also going to disagree with it. It's not going to happen. That's not happening. Here's another big one that a bunch of liberals have lost their ever-loving minds about. The United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive mutual agreed plan with at least $300 billion for reconstruction and economic development of Iran. The mechanism for the implementation of this plan will be finalized as part of the final deal within 60 days. All required licenses, waivers, and permissions needed for the relevant financial transactions will be granted by the United States. Number one, we're not asking anybody else. If you remember the Barack Obama deal, the one that everybody's like, well, we had the same thing with Obama. No, we didn't, because we had to agree with China and the Soviet Union on how to handle Iran. Right now, we're not asking anybody shit.
Right.
Either we're doing it or we're not, and it's us that's making the decision. Number two, not a dollar is going until the final deal is within place. So they're not getting any money. Unlike when Barack Obama, once again, flew pallets of cash in the middle of the night to Iran to get them to sign the piece of paper. They're not getting shit right now. Well, they are. We'll get to that, but they're not getting anything of this $300 billion. And the final point of this $300 billion is not a dollar, not as Donald Trump said, not 10 cents is coming from the United States taxpayer. And that's the big point. You have countries like South Korea, Japan, and some other countries, some Middle Eastern countries that are all have already raised 150 billion of this $300 billion, and it's made to help repair the trillions of dollars of loss to Iran's infrastructure that has happened. Okay, but we're not paying, and what I mean by we're, I mean you, me, him, John PQ taxpayer. None of us is paying any money to repair Iran. They need to be repaired so that they have the infrastructure. So that, here's the thing, and this is part of the art of the deal. This is why this is part of our podcast name today is, hey, let's make money, not war. Everybody likes money. Do you like money?
Oh yeah.
I like money. Let's make money, not war. And that is what it's always been. You have the madman theory, which isn't a theory. Not in this instance. Donald Trump really did have bombs dropped all across Iran twice, but more than twice, but two separate occasions. And you have him, well, we'll get to that. But the other part, once again, is we're not asking anybody else permission on what we're going to do with Iran. We're making the decisions along with the Iranian officials, whoever that is in charge. Paragraph 7, the United States of America undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions against Iran, including United Nations Security Council resolutions, IAEA, Board of Governors resolutions, and all unilateral U.S. sanctions, primary and secondary, in the agreed upon schedule as part of the final deal. Once again, the sanctions aren't getting lifted until the final deal. Now, the United States acknowledged the critical importance of these sanctions termination issue above mentioned and expressed their intentions to immediately address these issues in negotiations in order to achieve a mutual agreement on them. Now, basically what's going to happen is the United States is going to write some hall passes. We're going to go, hey, you can buy Iranian oil now with this little piece of paper. No one else is going to persecute you for it, and we're going to allow it to happen. Yeah. Once again, that is another projection of strength, not a projection of weakness. We didn't ask the IAEA Board of Governors for a reprieve. We're not asking the United Nations. We're saying, starting once we say it's okay, you can buy Iranian oil. And why would we do that? Because we need Iran earning its own money. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of the problems that happened in Afghanistan and some of these forever wars, which is exactly what Donald Trump is trying to avoid, happened because we decided we were going to go in and do regime change and fix things. Yep. We're not fixing anything. Matter of fact, we're not doing regime change. Now, we did openly and publicly ask the Iranian people to overthrow their government. They did not. But what you don't have is like the arming of Osama bin Laden back in the 80s, where we're dropping weapons and munitions off in Iran for the militants to take over either. We're not involved in any form of regime change or the old Colin Powell, you break it, you have to fix it idea. We broke it. It's up to y'all to fix it.
Yeah.
That's it. And the reason all this is important is because you're seeing all of these media outlets talk about how Trump folded. They're getting money immediately. They're getting this. They're getting that. Well, folks, they need some money. Their people need to live. They need to be able to have food. They need to be able to fix their water and their power plants and their bridges and the shit that we blew up. But we're not paying for it, and we're not sending people in to do it. And that's what's big. Because in administrations past, that's exactly what would have happened, i.e. Afghanistan, i.e. Iraq, when we went into Iraq and we toppled their regime and killed Saddam Hussein and tried to create a government. What did that create? ISIS.
Yep.
That is not what we're doing. That is the exact opposite of what Donald Trump is doing. But once again, this is what, if you've ever read the book, The Art of the Deal, and I heavily suggest it, I've said that before, this is exactly what he does. He walks in like he's the baddest man on campus. He flips his hand on the table and does what he needs to do and takes care of business and gets you to agree. He projects power and strength, nothing less, and acts like at the end of the day, that's fine. Don't sign the deal. See what happens.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on here. Paragraph 8, the Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirmates that it shall not proceed to develop nuclear weapons. The United States of America and Iran have agreed to resolve the disposition of stockpiled enriched uranium pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with the minimum methodology being downblending on site under supervision of the IAEA. This isn't the fake Obama era where we pretend like we have people looking. There's literally, I was reading, there's going to be like shit on the door where if people don't have authorized entrance to where this shit is and they open the door, immediately we will know.
Okay.
All right. Before, there were, and you're going to hear a lot of Democrats say, well, it's the same thing Obama had. No, when Obama was in charge, number one, it wasn't underneath rubble.
Yeah.
It wasn't blown to fucking bits. Their economy wasn't shuttered as bad as it is now. They weren't prevented from selling oil. Just like everyone's out there going, oh, well, the Strait of Hormuz was open. Well, we had to do all this so we could shut it down for Iran. Because while the Strait of Hormuz was open, Iran was openly sailing their shadow fleet up and down, selling their oil, curtailing the sanctions, and making their own money. When we created this naval blockade, when we were blowing holes in engine bays of the shadow fleet, every time they tried to push through, which I think 11 ships total is what tried to push through, Iran wasn't getting anything. This is nothing like the Obama deal. We're not projecting power. We're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the biggest differences between the JCAOP, JCEPO, I don't remember, from Obama's thing to what Trump's done now. The two parties also, downblending. What downblending means, and this is one thing I was on the fence at first. I was kind of honestly a little irritated with Trump about this because the whole time I heard they're not going to have any nuclear dust. There will be no nuclear dust. And now, like looking back, that was part of the art of the deal. I'm going to tell them they're not going to get shit. What are they going to do with their nuclear power plants? Well, they're going to have to shut them down because they're not going to be able to put any uranium in them. Their country's not going to have power. This is another typical Donald Trump from authority move. He literally said, you're not getting shit. And now what they physically agreed to is a downblending, which what that means is they take their highly purified 60% plus purified uranium and they blend it with either natural uranium or they blend it with depleted uranium. And the purpose of that is to get it to 3 to 5% purity. And the purpose behind that is by doing that, they can no longer turn that into weapon. Well, they could re-refine it, but they can't, it's not explosive. And it will take a long time for it to get to an explosive point. They would have to re-refine it and do all the things needed. That's what downblending is. And the downblending will happen in front of either United States or the IAEA, which is like the international blah, 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 blah. I don't remember.
IAEA.
That's a technical term. The blah, 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 blah.
Technicalities.
And that's huge because once again, Obama had all this stuff on paper, but there was no mechanism of enforcement. There was nothing that Iran had over their head to force it. They could just pretend, which is what they did for years. And the other big difference between Barack Obama's thing and what we're doing now is in 10 to 15 years after they signed the deal with Barack Obama, they could just start developing nukes. It was like a sunset clause where once it was over the rainbow and through the woods and the sunset had fallen, they could at that point begin doing everything all over again, which is a big difference from what they have now. There is no sunset clause. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And that is a big deal because before, they just waited long enough. If they outwaited the clock, they had the opportunity. Discuss the issue. Parties agreed to discuss the issues and other mutually agreed matters related to Iran's nuclear needs. That's because they have nuclear power plants. Okay, well, we're here now. The final deal will confirm the provisions of this paragraph. The United States and Iran acknowledge the critical importance of the nuclear issues above mentioned and express their intention to immediately address these issues in negotiations in order to achieve mutual agreement on them. Paragraph 9. Pending the final deal, the United States of America and Iran agree to maintain the status quo. Iran will maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program, and the United States will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces to the region, which doesn't mean that they're going to take anything away. Just means we're not going to add to it. And Iran's not going to do the other stuff. They're not going to try to make nuclear weapons, which has been what Donald Trump's biggest conversation point was. And now, and that's what brought the clarity to me, because before, like I said earlier, I was like, oh my God, he folded a little bit.
Right.
He's going to let him have some uranium. And then I did the research and like looked back at all the other deals. And it's always like, no, you can't do it. You'll never get nothing. And then he gets to the table and he's like, all right, I'll give you a little bit.
A little something,
You
something.
can have a little something. But you're going to sign this piece of paper saying that you won't never get the large majority of it.
Right.
You're not going to get what you want. But you'll be able to power your nuclear power plants. That's fine. That's okay. We'll allow that. I guess we'll allow it. Paragraph 10. The United States undertakes that immediately upon signing the MOU and until the termination, this is the part I like, of sanctions, the U.S. Department of Treasury will issue waivers. What do these waivers do? They allow people to buy Iranian crude. So even though all the sanctions from all the different governing bodies and everything else, well, you know what? We're going to write you a little permission slip, a hall pass, one might say. And with that hall pass, you'll be able to buy petroleum products and derivatives and all associated services, including banking transactions, insurance, and transportation, which means we're not going to blow a hole in your ship if you went and picked up some Iranian crude. Because you got our allowance. See, once again, we're using the same tactics Iran has used for years against Iran. What did we do in order to collapse their economy? We did a blockade of the Strait. They've been doing that for years. What did we do to the ships that tried to go through? Well, we blew up their engine bay. Iran did a little more than that. They actually blew up the boats. But we didn't want to destroy the whole boat. We just wanted to stop it from moving so that we could interdict it. All jokes included there.
Yeah.
Paragraph 11. The United States of America undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon the implementation of the MOU. The United States of America and Iran will mutually agree on these procedures related to the release of these funds during negotiations. Such funds, whether obtaining the original count or a transfer from account, shall be made usable for payment to any ultimate beneficiary designed by the Central Bank of Iran. The United States of America undertakes to issue all necessary licenses and authorizations accordingly. Now, a lot of people read this as that means the money is immediately released to Iran. That's not the case. Now, it will be Cooper. It will be released to Iran through the process. But that didn't mean the minute Iran showed up and signed the paperwork that they got their money. And that's the big changing point once again. We didn't fly pallets of cash to Pakistan and just hand it over and go, here you go, sign the paperwork. We're making them work for it. Either you play or you don't get paid. That's it. Point blank. Paragraph 12. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree that an executive successful implementation of this MOU and the further compliance of the final deal. So basically, they're saying we have to do this, and if we don't, then it's going to go to kaput. Paragraph 13. After signing this MOU and subject to the beginning of the implementation of paragraphs 1, 4, 5, 10, and 11 of this MOU and the continued implementation of these measurements, the United States of America and Iran will start negotiations regarding the final deal exclusively on the other paragraphs. So once the 1, 4, 5, 10, and 11 are shown to being implemented, then that's when we start talking about giving them their assets, allowing people to buy crude from them, and all the other stuff. See, nobody's reading paragraph 13 the way it's written. Everybody just glazes right over that, and they're not. Everybody thinks, oh, well, we're going to just let them start selling oil. We're going to let them start doing this. We're going to let them start doing that. Not until 1, 4, 5, 10, and 11 have been implemented and are continuing to be implemented will those other items happen. They won't get money. They won't get to sell their oil. Like, none of that's going to happen. And the Islamic Republic of Iran will start negotiations regarding the final deal exclusively on the other paragraphs. The final deal, paragraph 14, small and sweet. The final deal will be endorsed by a binding UNSC resolution. So while you're on TV right now and you're seeing Republicans and Democrats out here pretending like the sky is falling and Trump folded, and when I say Republicans, I should have said rhinos. You know, I saw fucking Mike Pence on there.
Oh, yeah.
I really just didn't think
always on some bullshit.
A good way to go about it. You know, I would have done it differently. We talked about that. No taxpayer dollars. We talked about that. Treasury waiver. A waiver is a legal hall pass issued by the U.S. Department of Treasury. It tells foreign countries like China, India, or other European nations and global corporations, for now, you can buy Iranian oil, and we promise our lawyers won't come after you. Why the extra words matter. All associated service. Notice how the text doesn't just say oil. It specifies all associated services, including banking transactions, insurance, and transportation, etc. You can't just buy oil. You have to move it. Mega tankers require massive international insurance policies, global maritime transport networks, and international banks to clear multi-million-dollar wires. That's why all of those words were in there. Because it's not just let me pull up and pump a bunch of crude into a ship.
Yeah.
You don't have, your visa doesn't swipe for $80 million. By waiving the sanctions on insurance, banking, and shipping, the Trump administration is completely unlocking the global supply chain for Iranian oil. It allows Iran to function like a normal oil exporting nation. That's it on that one. Downblending, I kind of went over that. You can't just destroy uranium. Instead, nuclear technicians take the highly enriched uranium gas, uranium hexafluoride, and mix it with natural or depleted uranium with almost no purity. By mixing the high purity stuff with low purity stuff, you chemically degrade the entire batch down to a low level, usually below 5%. And at 5% uranium can only be used for peaceful nuclear power plants to generate electricity. It is physically impossible to detonate it. All right, that. Like, this is trying to be an educational video today, guys, because a lot of times there's a lot of like yelling and screaming, and this time there could have been. Because, like I said, I was irritated as fuck that Trump didn't initially, that it wasn't a zero uranium, no nuclear,
Yeah.
no nuclear dust, no nuclear. They won't have any nuclear dust. That's what he kept saying. But now I understand why he would do that, because that's the starting point. Your starting point is zero.
Yeah.
Your starting point is you don't get shit. How about
Right.
that?
Part of the deal.
And that's exactly what it is. And he once again pulled the Trump card and got something that most people still are saying is going to fold, or he's going to taco Trump. You know, um, the enforcement mechanism. This is the difference between the JCPOA and Trump's Islamabad MOU. A gavel versus a bomb. The biggest talking point. The Obama deal relied heavily on UN international courts and slow bureaucratic snapback system for sanctions if Iran cheated. If Iran broke a rule, it took months of committee meetings to verify and respond. The Trump MOU is built on immediate unilateral military deterrence. Trump isn't waiting for a UN panel. He's made it clear on day one. If you don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs on your head, in the middle of your head. That's literally what he said at G7. The U.S. military is maintaining its combat position in the region, meaning that the enforcement mechanism is a carrier strike group, not a piece of paper. Which, that's a big difference. The Obama deal had built-in expiration dates, the sunset clause that I talked about earlier. After 10 to 15 years, certain restrictions on Iran's nuclear program automatically went away, meaning Iran could eventually return to enriching uranium legally. Trump does not give Iran a free pass down the road. It sets up a 60-day performance-based clock. The text explicitly states the $300 billion reconstruction fund and permanent sanction reliefs are contingent upon a final deal being agreed upon. If they don't perform, or they try to sneak in service fees in the Strait, the dial snaps shut immediately. The Obama deal allowed Iran to keep their highly enriched material and just cap their future production. It left their core infrastructure intact and running, and we damn sure know that their core infrastructure is not intact and running now. They don't have Fordo. They don't have the things that they had before, where they could actually enrich the uranium anymore. Now what they have is a bunch of rubble. Sorry about that. And with the rubble, they have no more capability to do what they were doing. It's just gone. It's just not a choice anymore. You want it? You want me to take it?
Yeah, I can do it.
I think I'm on that side.
We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto is created so you can actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limited access, you're in control. And if you ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some.
Do it.
Do it.
Pardon the brief interruption.
Sponsors. Sponsor. Oh my God.
God.
Will it though? Oh God, I was joking.
Ah!
I'm getting it.
There we go. We're back. Sorry. I was trying to get back to the comments. But the Trump MOU focuses on the immediate physical reduction of the threat. Under paragraph 8, the baseline requirement is downblending on site. Iran has to take its highly dangerous 60% enriched uranium stockpiles and physically dilute them down to a safe low energy level under 5% under the direct supervision of the IAEA before they get full benefits of the deal. The Obama deal was signed by a massive coalition, the P5+1, meaning the U.S. had to compromise with Russia and China to get the deal done, weakening America's individual leverage. The Trump MOU is essentially a direct transactional framework between Washington and Tehran, facilitated by Pakistan. Trump has sidelined the international consensus model by keeping the final deal subject to a binding USNC resolution, paragraph 14, but driven by absolute U.S. military pressure. The administration ensures that the U.S. dictates the terms rather than negotiating with global rivals. At the end of the day, if the deal is dead, the B-52s start flying again.
Yep.
That's it.
Foreheads on
drop
foreheads.
Bombs on foreheads. Now, this is just a small little clip, a small little snippet of DJT, who's controlled by Israel.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just so controlled.
Definitely so controlled by Israel. And so it doesn't have a lot to do with what we were talking about today. And we're going to get on to some G7 stuff, really mainly about the fact that all the European nations are now trying to give a shit about illegal immigration.
Yeah. Huh.
Wild, right? And nationalism. I thought nationalism was bad, Greg.
Yeah, I know, man.
If Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job. Now, we had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there's a very minor little thing with some drones that were released, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what happened? That was a vicious, that was too much.
He's talking about
you can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did.
That sounds like a man controlled by Israel.
I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Now, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with.
If you're wondering, I paused it right there. That's why at the beginning of the MOU, Lebanon was brought up so much. Not only is this a piece of paper kind of like signing off on Iran, but there's some hidden shots at Israel in
there. Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran. So when you ask me about Bibi, an unbelievable relationship. But Israel would have been blown up a long time ago had I not gotten involved. If Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else.
So that's an anecdotal part of the podcast, but it's still a part of the podcast because you still have all of these. I don't even know what to call them. What all of these unintelligent people.
Yeah.
Out here going, well, Israel's controlling America and they're controlling Trump.
like the cool thing to say right now.
It's so cool, especially amongst the American youth. But right there, you have Donald Trump openly criticizing not only Netanyahu, but Israel as a whole. And why did he do that? Was it to distance himself or make it look like, no, it's because he's fed up with what the fuck they're doing. They're blowing up entire apartment buildings. Now, once again, I am still pro-Israel. As far as I can tell, I always will be. That is one of our greatest allies. But at the end of the day, he's not wrong. Bibi should be very grateful for what Trump did. It is not the other way around. We didn't need Israel in the Iran war or special military operation. Israel needed us.
Yep.
The biggest issue he's pissed off is the timing. Just hours before the U.S. and Iran were set to announce the massive 14-point MOU on Sunday, the Israeli military launched a major airstrike on a residential building in the, I don't know how to say that, but we're going to call it in a neighborhood of Beirut in Lebanon. Trump was furious because the exact strike nearly blew up the entire negotiation and delayed the announcement by several hours. Behind closed doors, Axios and other outlets reported that Trump called Netanyahu directly using incredibly blunt language, essentially screaming, "What are you doing?" It throws a negative light on the big deal. At the G7 conference, Trump didn't hide his anger, as you just saw, because that was at the G7. That's what we just played. The Beirut strike, vicious and too much, stating that the endless fighting on Lebanon goes forever and threatens global stability.
Yep.
Trump's language toward Israel at the G7 represents a massive pivot to a highly transactional, America first style of diplomacy. He essentially laid out a hierarchy of power to the reporters. When Trump said, if Iran had a nuclear weapon, Israel wouldn't be around, and followed it up with, without me, there would be no Israel, he was reminding Netanyahu who holds the ultimate military shield. Trump is telling Netanyahu that Israel's survival depends entirely on American backing and the defense systems. Therefore, if the United States decides to freeze the war with Iran for 60 days to stabilize the global economy and oil markets, Israel needs to get in line and stop launching strikes that jeopardize the framework.
Mm-hmm.
We are not bound. The reaction in Israel has been total political chaos, and it shows why this ceasefire is so fragile. Netanyahu is stuck in a vice. He has publicly declared victory over Iran, claiming the joint campaign already stopped nuclear annihilation, but he also explicitly stated that Israel forces will remain in southern Lebanon for as long as necessary to protect their northern border from Hezbollah. Hardline ministers inside Netanyahu's coalition government immediately went rogue, firing back publicly. They are furious because paragraph 1 of the MOU explicitly demands a ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon. And that's why I pointed that out earlier. Lebanon is in paragraph 1 a few times. Those aren't handcuffs on Iran. Those are handcuffs on Israel.
Yep.
And it protects Lebanon's sovereignty because Lebanon, although they might be harboring Hezbollah or allowing Hezbollah, I don't know the full details what Lebanon's doing, but at the end of the day, it's Hezbollah attacking Israel, not Lebanon. So you can't keep a force inside of a country if that country is not the issue. If Netanyahu pulls his troops back from the Lebanese border just because Trump signed an MOU with Iran, his domestic coalition could collapse, potentially ending his political career. It's pretty much over anyway.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. Netanyahu is...
Yeah, he's demonized himself.
He's demonized himself bad. Last but not least, the G7. This is big. This is actually huge. This is so big. It's so huge. huge. Illegal immigration was one of the major official agenda items at the G7 summit. Leaders, including President Trump, signed a specific standalone document called the Leaders' Declaration on Tackling Migrant Smuggling. The main core, sovereignty over globalism. The very first thing is the aggressive language used in the opening declaration. The text explicitly states that migrant smuggling and human trafficking are serious transnational crimes that erode the sovereign rights of states to control their borders. Why this matters: in past international declarations, usually focused heavily on migrant rights, the global coordination, Trump, and the conservative shift in European leadership forced the focus back on national sovereignty, treating illegal immigration strictly as a national security crime. The declaration outlines a major aggressive crackdown on how human traffickers and cartels organize their operations. The P5 and G7 nations commit to forcing international tech companies and online platforms to detect, prevent, and remove online content used to recruit migrants or plan smuggling operations. They officially agreed to implement targeting economic sanctions and financial restrictions directly against the individuals, entities, and criminal networks running the smuggling rings, treating them like international drug cartels or terrorist groups.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge, because you're talking about, I mean, just look at Europe. Just look, would you look at that? Would you look at that? They officially agreed. I already read that. This is a massive point for a hardline audience. The agreement explicitly reminds the world of the international obligations regarding deportations. The enforcement. It demands that the countries of origin speed up their process to ensure the timely, safe, lawful, and dignified return of any of their citizens who have no legal right to stay in the US or Europe. Essentially, it puts countries on notice that they cannot refuse to take back their deported citizens. Take that, George Soros. That's all I hear right there. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
The declaration officially acknowledged and validated a new strategy being used by several G7 members, outsourcing migration management to third countries. Rather than processing illegal migrants inside the US or Europe, nations are exploring legal frameworks to send migrants to holding or processing facilities in cooperative third-party countries while their legal statuses are determined, keeping them off domestic soil entirely.
Boom.
Boom. That's huge. That's so huge, because now instead of the globalist network taking over the world, it's just another bit by bit dismantling of the globalist.
No, you're Chinese guy.
What's the word I'm trying to say here?
Globalist?
Globalist agenda. Thank you. I could not get it out. They're going after cartels and human smugglers with the exact same financial sanctions we use on terrorists. They are forcing big tech to purge their apps and websites the cartels use to recruit and organize. They're forcing foreign governments to stop playing games and immediately accept their citizens back when we deport them. Trump didn't just go to France to talk about Iran. He went there to export the border security as national security playbook to the rest of the world. He got the Europeans to admit their old way failed, and they are finally adopting the America First model to lock down their borders and destroy the smuggling networks. Core nations involved: United States, President Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
United Kingdom, wild, right? Prime Minister Keir Starmer. France, President Emmanuel Macron, the summit host. Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney. Germany, Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Italy, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Japan, we already knew Japan was going to be on this.
Mm-hmm.
That chick is a Trump MAGA diehard. I'm not going to try to say her name. She's the prime minister.
Yeah.
The global partners who also signed: the Republic of Korea, that's South Korea, Kenya, crucially because Kenya is a major transit and origin hub in East Africa, meaning a major source country officially signed onto a deportation and enforcement document. What the text actually spells out. If you look closely at the fine point of the declaration, it moves away from traditional diplomatic language and establishes 5 direct, aggressive policy mandates. Past international agreements often put migrant right panels above national laws. This document flips that on its head. The signed text, black and white, states that human smuggling is a transnational crime and erodes the sovereign rights of states to control their borders. By signing this, the European allies officially conceded the American first position: border security is a matter of pure national security, not a global oversight. The G7 didn't just promise to catch smugglers at the sea, they agreed to treat human trafficking networks the exact way they treat international terrorist cells and drug cartels: asset freezers, targeted economic sanctions, and financial restrictions against the kingpins running these operations. Following the money, it mandates financial intelligence units to trace, freeze, and seize the bank accounts, real estate, and crypto assets used by organized criminal networks organized criminal networks to profit from illegal migration. Overhauling tech compliance. The mandate: countries pledge to intensify our cooperation with online platforms to force tech companies like Meta, TikTok, and encrypted messaging apps to actively detect, prevent, and remove online content used to conduct and advertise smuggling operations. If an app refuses to comply or look the other way while cartels advertise safe passage packages, they will face severe regulatory and financial penalties from these combined governments. Weaponizing deportations, forced returns, obligation on states to accept their own nationals. It's what we've been doing here for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But on a global scale, because you see countries like Ireland, like the UK, like France, like Germany, all overrun. And now you see like little girls walking with knives in Ireland
Mm-hmm.
to try to protect themselves and going to jail for it. Like it's so sad. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all hanging out today, checking in, watching us. Hit the like button if you like the
Do it.
content. Hit the like button if you didn't like the content.
Just hit the like.
Just
button.
hit the like button. Share the feed. Share it on YouTube. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Rumble. Share it on X. Share it on every platform you see it on. Don't forget, tune in. We're not going to have a podcast this Saturday, but we'll be back next week. Ultra Maga Nation, we're out.
Peace.